this high ground advantage he has here. Very nice to see a Protoss player using this high ground, as Terran players love to use this high ground on Lost Temple. We have a little null in the game here, as we do have a proxy warp prism, I guess is what you could call it, or just a warp prism set up there. I'd like to maybe see it actually set up here. You could warp in stalkers and keep these guys reinforced. Just bring it around this way. We do have a slight push coming in, as it doesn't look like Reezy is going to be able to hold this on forever. He might pick off one or two stalkers. It doesn't look like it's going to be big. Hold on 1 second here. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It does look like these stalkers are going to be able to offer some very good support for for these immortals, as he's able to mostly keep these units at bay, as the immortals are doing tons and tons of damage. They do extra damage against armored, and yes, the stalkers are armored units. It does look like this immortal is going to go down, but the stalkers are able to stay up there. It did look like the observer was also able to go down. So we do have another observer here. Moving that observer in will mean he has sight, and he will eventually be able to push these off. It does look like we have 4 more stalkers being reinforced over here. I would like to see another observer try and make its way. It does look like these stalkers are going to be pushing off, keeping these zealots a little further away here, creating an easier channel for him for Silver to be able to pull his units in. It does look like they're going to come here and start harassing these 2 mineral nodes, which is going to be key in keeping a few of these probes down. More and more kills for these. These stalkers have most definitely paid for themselves, as they're all sitting around. We have 3, 2, 6, and 9 kills. It does look like the observer is able to give enough. Excuse me, real quick while I'm also involved in this tournament as well, and he's trying to get me to play a tournament. I will unfortunately have to hold that off. Let me quickly deal with that. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I am back and ready to play. It does look like we have a zealot run by. It's not very often that you see that. That's where a force field's very handy-dandy to hold these units off. It does look like he's going to be able to pump in some units. It does look like we're going to have more units warped in down here. This would be a good time to attack. Can these zealots? They're going to probably go down to the stalkers, as it does look like he's splitting up his forces. That stalker does go down. It does look like, though, we're having a counterattack right away, as these zealots don't quite know if they should attack here or come back and defend base. May I suggest you defend base? It's probably a good idea, considering these stalkers look like they're going to just wallop all over your army at home. It does look like a guardian shield goes up. Very nice, keeping a little bit of protection. It does look like we have a cannon there that is going to help push these units away. We could see some very nice blink micros jump in here and start hitting down a few of these pylons, trying to unpower a few of the gateways. I'm not sure if you'd be able to do that, but that would be very powerful. It does look like, though, Reezy is going to be able to hold this army off and be able to keep them at bay. He does have some zealots here that Reezy could use to run in. Instead, he's just going to have them sit there. It does look like Silver does remember about them and comes back to try and finish them off with these stalkers. Ooh, very nice use of Blink, using the warp prison to put them up on the higher ground, make it so the zealots can attack, get a few easy hits. Unfortunately, I don't think he really penetrated the shields of any of these units, and they will be quickly regenerating their shield. I would like to see maybe the warp prison focus up here as it quickly goes down. That way then he can warp a few more stalkers up here, hopefully keep it alive before he dies, and be able to get these reshots. It does look like this one here. He should probably focus that one down. If you can focus it down, they just walk more back in. But if you could have focused that down, he might have been able to get a few more hits in on his opponent. Every hit does count. It does look like an immortal here is going to come in and take the brunt force of a ton of zealots and stalkers and quickly get taken down. It does look like Reezy was somehow able to pull that out of his hat. Push again. We do have some stalkers and an observer here. The proxy pylon does go down. This could be the end, ladies and gentlemen. This push from Reezy does look like it might be able to do quite a bit of damage. The stalkers do get the high ground advantage and will be raining damage down. Oh, a ton of probes must evacuate the the expansion, and he is mined out, ladies and gentlemen, mined out of his main. So that does mean he right now is stuck with just as many minerals as he has, unless he starts to long distance mine. I would set these probes to start mining right away. He was able to ward off that attack, just set a mine, build up one nexus, and start mining. Long distance mine. That way then he can have some income and be able to keep up some. It does look like he's going to take my advice. Very smart move there. Not always, but this time it is. It does look like he's going to keep the long distance mining up. He's sitting around. He needs to get up to 400 minerals. There's 400 minerals. He needs to quickly lay down a nexus, as that is going to be key in keeping his base alive. Very nice. This has been a very nice game from Reezy. He's been able to hold off some intense stalker harass using this cliff, exploiting the cliff and blink micro. And he was able to push back and take out the expansion for silver. And it does look like the expansion is cancelled. Ooh, interesting. It does look like instead he's decided he wants the high yield. No guts, no glory, right? Interesting choice. I would have just let that go, take this down, and then with my next 400, build that up. Because it does look like he's sitting at 300. I would honestly place another nexus here. That way then there's multiple nexuses around, and it's much harder for your opponent to attack. And it does give the illusion of having more money that way. We do have the Colossus making another cameo appearance in this epic battle between Silver and Reezy. We do have a probe coming in for Reezy, able to definitely scout that. He will deny the scouting, and it does look like he does not know if there's another one there. Although, if I were him, I would have to assume there is, just because there's been that enough time for that to happen. Going to the Army tab, it does look like they are slowly evening out. Going back into our production, we do have another Nexus coming down for both players. Where is... we have a hidden expansion up here for Reezy. Very nicely done. That should throw Silver off the scent. The only problem is Silver is taking the high yield, so he should be able to keep his minerals up nice and high. He does quickly transfer all of these drones over to the high yield. We do have more stalkers being warped in. I'd like to see, again, another proxy pylon. It does look like we're going to have a battle here. Mass 2 Colossi just might be enough to pull this in. Great micro, pulling them back, using the thermal lance ray to just decimate this opposing stalker army, able to outrange Silver. GG, well played, coming from Silver. Thank you very much. This is NTLkrayZ, and we will just let this game end.